late tonight, but we're gonna go ahead and get going with some more C game dev. Again, this is really laid back. It's kind of, I put course in there, but it's not really a course. We're just going through the book. So we're going through Head for C. Head for C, we're working through it. We're talking about it. Earlier today, we got kind of sidetracked off topic with some of the more advanced C coders, and we were like looking at the definition of string literals and a bunch of really great stuff that we're going to come up with later, and found a couple new tools that we're going to be able to talk about. So I'm super excited about that. So let's get to it. Let's put the fishies to bed for a bit. Fishies, go away. And we have to kind of reset here. Here's my Head for C project. It's still my default project. I was setting up some of my modes. I updated my about page, in case you're wondering. With the different modes, I'm making it hopefully so people can tell what's going on, because so many different things are happening here. All right, and what else? Let's go ahead and split the screen so that the chat doesn't take over the window. Blank pane. Okie dokie. Where were we? All right, so we were in chapter 1. Where's chapter 1? Right here. So this is some stuff we were working on earlier today. String literals, super interesting stuff. I cannot wait to talk about this. But it unfortunately is not what we're currently working on. So we will go back to where we were. Don't worry, we're getting there. Oh, so this book is so amazing. You know, I usually will call out shit when I don't like it. I cannot tell you how well done this book is. It looks silly and cartoony, but it actually covers really important concepts in depth in a way that is really easy to grok. So I'm super excited about it. Even though we're only in the middle of chapter, what are we? Where are we? Where are we? I don't know. What are we doing? We're in the middle of chapter 1. Maybe I should just open this again. Yeah. All right, so PDF, Head first C. Open it. All right, there we go. Yeah, we're in chapter 2 here, and 1 still. Oh, yeah. Nope. Okay, so we just did this the other night, last night. And this code is all in here. By the way, this repo should be accessible. Oh, right. We modify Shatner a bit. Status. I don't remember what I changed. Get diff. Music changed? What do you mean the music changed? There's still music. You want the beach music back? Should be in the background. Oh my god, it's 200 bits. Woohoo! Time spent is wasting is never time wasted. It's funny, John Lennon and I share a date in common, which I shall not expose at this time. Let that be a treasure hunt for y'all. Git diff. If you don't know Git and Linux and all that stuff, or GCC, you probably shouldn't be here. We do cover that stuff on May the 4th. We start covering, that's when the whole cycle for the year returns. We're kind of at the end, so covering C and things like that are things that we don't do at the very beginning. We might mix it up though. I've been wondering about that. Oh, this was just a minor change. I see. I mean, I can actually revert that change. I don't care. You know about this? You can just check it out again, and it'll revert it. If you check it out on top of itself and it'll revert it. How's it going, dog? So what do we have? We have chapter 1. Remember we did Shatner last night. That's their name, not mine. Oh, Segfault. Kaplooey. What bug did I leave in here? Oh, here we go. Foo plus 2. Foo plus 2. I left the bug in here of some kind. Oh, right. Yeah. This is supposed to be... No, we wanted that to blow up. That's actually a thing. Yeah. So we're trying to show the difference between the two. Actually, no. Oh, it's because it's the old one. Never mind. That's the old one. I'm so sorry. The new one works. That code works. There we go. So, we have Shatner is in there. Strings are characters bytes that end with a byte that's a null byte, which is just an empty, it's a 0, but it's another way to write it. About Twitch, I can maybe ask a quick Twitch question if you answer, but we're doing C right now. Just saying goodbye to Windows and getting Linux, Mint, Fedora, my mailbox. Join the evil club of people using Linux. Sipping their coffee and watching the Windows people run around in their small little world. It's a joke. It's a joke. Calm down. I have to tell people this. Melchizedek rating with 22. Melchizedek. I am Melchizedek. Welcome, Raiders. We are doing C coding. If that is what you wish to do, you are in the right place. What if I could zoom within Zoom? I play Steam. I use VLC Player and Zoom. I don't know about that. Yeah, that's not a question for now. We got to wait until after the C stuff for that. Yeah. All right. So we're in chapter 0 of Head for C, which can be obtained for free online illegally in some countries. Depends on the country you're in. Better use Rust. Please don't ever say those words again in my C streams. Frank the Troll. By the way, let's take a moment to ponder the C language. It seems to be rather popular right now to shit on C. But let's just take a look at what this language has accomplished since 1976. First of all, C was invented to create the Unix operating system, the most powerful, the most prominent operating system the planet Earth has ever known. Ever. And it wouldn't exist without C. The first version of Unix was written in assembly. And Dennis Ritchie and the gang at Bell Labs, they said, hey, you know what? We need to do this in an easier way. We need an ultra low language that gives us finite total control of memory management and CPU and everything. Direct access to the devices, just like assembly, but we don't want assembly. So what did they make? C. And so C is the most powerful language in terms of like low-level access to the devices and everything the world has ever known. And what dumbass Rust programmers will tell you today is that makes it the worst language ever. No, it's not the worst language ever. Replace worst with best and most powerful and lowest level human programmable language, because that's what C is. And Rust is not that. Name one significant project done in Rust. 0. Firefox doesn't count. They fired all their Rust programmers. I'm not going to make this a Rust rant. But let's go back to C. All right? There are trillions of lines of C code. Just the Linux kernel is something like 72 million lines of C. Oh, guess what? There's some errors in there because there's 72 fucking million lines of code in there. Do you think Rust would have fixed those? No, because Rust would have had to say unsafe on most of the stuff that has the errors. The C is dangerous, talking point is tired. Look at what happened. It's the log4j vulnerabilities basically everywhere. Log4j is more dangerous than C. And it's more dangerous than C ever was. You know what makes C dangerous? People who don't understand C. Because C is a low-level language. It deals with low-level memory. And we're going to show you some tools that some of the community showed me today that blew my mind. I cannot wait to show you. There's a compiler simulator that translates any C code into its actual assembly code and shows you how it gets rendered. It's so amazing. I can't wait to show you. I cannot wait to show you. Because C allows you the most power of any language on planet Earth. Stop shitting on this language. If you can't even code in Rust safely until you understand what unsafe even fucking means. And you can't understand what unsafe coding is until you understand how your computer works, which means you either learn assembly or you learn C, because those are the languages closest to the hardware, closest to the computer. Okay, I'm done with that rant. Let's move on. We see that every operating system that matters on planet Earth since the dawn of time has been written in C. And everybody who tries to do it in any other language, and believe me, they've tried. All right. So let's go back. Programming thing. So we're just going to keep reading here. The ones that don't code in it. And basically all the components in a modern aircraft. Okay. Why? But that's unsafe, right? Oh, God, no. We need to rewrite all of that in Rust with promises. Let's rewrite the aircraft machine code in Rust so that our aircraft are safer. But make sure you have promises so you can do concurrency right. All right, we're going to go on. Look, most of the C community they just shake their head, sip their coffee, and look at all the Rust script kiddies. They don't really care. They don't really care because they already know that they have the most powerful, biggest language that has ever existed at their fingertips, available to them anytime. And that is what I want you to learn. That is what I want for all of us to learn. It's what I want to return to learning. I has been 15 years for me. If you want to brag about, all these arch people and everything, you want to brag about knowing, advanced technical things. There's nothing better than C. If that's your way of being, if you really want to brag about how awesome you are, C is by far the most important language for you to learn. VxWorks running C code is what most safety critical and risk and loss of life software is using. Yeah, eMoney31. Oh, you are brilliant. Thank you so much for being here and helping us set the reality straight. There is a lot of YouTube-y, Twitch script kiddie people running around playing with C and doing this and not even really doing it right, and doing Rust and playing around with Rust and saying how much better Rust is, and they're these pseudo, they're kind of the equivalent of pseudo-intellectuals writing code who are trying to talk about how the world's going to be better by writing Rust, and none of them have a fucking clue. Meanwhile, life-critical code is being written in C, and nobody's talking about it because they don't know it. So we're going to fix that. We're going to talk about C every day until this book is done. And hopefully you'll have a game written in Blasteroids. And if you want to do something more significant, I don't know, like an approved Linux driver, guess what? Rust is not approved for Linux device drivers. They have a proposal submitted. It has not been accepted. Don't let anybody lie to you about the different, including ZD Tech News or whatever the fuck, who've been telling you that Rust has been accepted as a second language. That is not true. That is categorically false. Linus even called out Rust and said, no, Rust is probably not one of those languages. There's a really hopeful proposal out there right now, but it has not been approved, and it probably won't be for a long time. And even if it does get approved, it'll be for they even specifically said it'll be for very, very isolated edge cases for drivers. Meanwhile, the core kernel of Linux is going to stay in C. So if anybody's going to try to tell you, the Linux is changing into Rust, it's full. No, they're not going to rewrite millions of lines of code in Rust. No, not even close. Don't let them lie to you. I'm not a professor. I can't put up with academia. They wouldn't want me anyway. I tried. It's not Rust hate time. Somebody brought it up. Frank brought it up. Like Ada. Written in Ada. Yeah, Ada is another great language. Ada is another great one, Frank. Absolutely. I think people should learn Ada as well. I think you should learn Ada before you learn Rust. You want to write code that runs on missiles and shit. Learn Ada. All right, let's go. I'm sorry, I didn't mean this to be a Rust rant, but the topic came up, and I was actually thinking about this while I was getting ready by putting my pajamas on to come at this little session. I was like, I need to help people understand how significant C is. NIM's a really fascinating language. It's just irrelevant. There's a lot of fascinating languages that are irrelevant. Lots of them. and I think you should learn them. They'll help you, including Rust. I do think you should learn Rust. It'll help you think better. It'll help you understand what safe and unsafe is and blah, blah, blah. I think you should learn it. I just don't think you should put everything into it. And I definitely think you should learn C and stop shitting on it. Learn small talk too after that. Yeah. Julia isn't irrelevant. I didn't say Julia was irrelevant. Julia is still very relevant. I love Lua. Lua is the best embedded language. Lua is a fantastic language to pair with C. Lua and C go very well together. They go really, really well together. How's it going? You look like the smart guy, and I know because I'm a smart guy too. Listen. Oh, God, this is funny. I'm onto a sure thing here, and I'm a nice guy, so can you guys see this? This is so funny. I love the writing style of this book. So I'm going to let you in on a secret. See, I'm an expert in card counting. The capo di tutti capi. What's card counting, you say? Well, to me, it's a career. Seriously, card counting is a way to improve your odds of when you play blackjack. In blackjack, there are plenty of high-value cards left in the shoe. Then the odds are slanted in favor of the player. That's you. Card counting helps you keep track of the number of high-value cards. Say you start with a card count of 0. Then the dealer leads with the queen. Then the high card. That's one less available in the deck. So you reduce the count by 1. Queen equals count minus 1. Yeah. But if it's a low card like a 4 and the count goes up by 1, count for high cards are 10s, face cards, blah, blah, you keep going on. If you'd like to know more, then enroll today in my blackjack correspondence course. How to use the Kelly criteria to maximize value, how to avoid blah, blah. So it sounds like we're going to be writing a blackjack program. So that's cool. Let's do it. Counts as a game. That's game dev. We're doing blackjack. Blackjack is a game. Dying to hear this story. Which one? Yeah. Let's see. You guys, you're welcome to talk about whatever, but don't keep people from asking real questions. Card counting is as a way to increase your chances of winning blackjack by keeping a running count as the cards are dealt. The player can work out the best time to place bets. All right, we got that. So here's the algorithm. We've already got this code. Evaluate the card. How do we check? Is it less than 3? How do we check it that it's less than 3? Is greater than 6? Is that 2 decks? We can just check and use this variable for this. Increase count by 1. Otherwise, is it a blah, blah, blah? Decrease count by 1. So this is a pretty simple algorithm. You get that word probably. Algorithm is just a recipe. It's the steps to do a thing with logic, like if this, then that. Which is also called imperative programming. That kind of proceeds from, through time. How difficult would it be to write in C? You've looked at how to make a single test, but the card counting algorithm needs to be checked multiple conditions. You need to check the number is greater than 3, as well as checking if it's less than 6. Soft dev Twitch makes me want to code like nothing. Nice. Well, you should DraftX. I'm glad you're here because I am proud to be a member of software and game development now, since that's what we're doing. Even though people hate me here. I'm not going to go into it. So, yeah, one of the other fractals by chance. Oh, no, I know. You need a set of operations that will allow you to combine conditions together. All right, there's more to Booleans than equals. What the fuck is a Boolean? This is kind of a rated R course, rated M or whatever. So far, you looked at if statements that check if a single condition is true, but what if you want to check several conditions? We looked at switch. Switch is interesting. Switch is like lots of stuff, right? Or check if a single condition is not true. People love hating on hate. And. What does and do? So and checks the two conditions are true. The and operator values the true only if both conditions given to it are true. So that's what this is. In Python, this is the word and. In Bash, it's the same. In fact, this code right here is almost legal Bash code. If you use double brackets, it would be. So, yep. Actually, that even might still be Bash. Now, notice they left the curly brackets off of the block. That's a decidedly C thing to do. Don't ever do that in JavaScript, by the way. It's really bad because it implies a semicolon goes here because you have automatic semicolon insertion. C does not have that. Okay, so let's keep going. The AND operator is efficient. If the first condition is false, then the computer won't bother evaluating the second condition. it knows that if the first condition is false, then the whole condition must be false. So, and you can actually do something called short circuit logic, which I talk about in Bash, where you, instead of writing an if statement, you can in C. C you can't do it in Bash, you can though. And we'll come back to that later. But the code stops evaluating as soon as it finds a false. So if there's an and, as soon as it finds a false, it stops evaluating because it already has its answer. It doesn't keep going. So that's why. So 2 bars, this is 2 bars right here. 2 bars, that's the logical OR operator. Okay. By the way, don't confuse these with bitwise OR and AND. Those are totally different. Those are bitwise operations that change the bits in a bit field. And though the names are the same, and it's easy to confuse them. So that's why I call this a logical OR. So there's logical OR and logical AND. These are not bitwise OR and AND. So they call them pipes in Java. I wouldn't call it a pipe. I call it a pipe and I use it in Bash because that's a pipe. I call them bars for everything else. The OR operator evaluates the true if either condition given to is true. If cupcakes in fridge or chips on the table, either of these have to be Boolean conditions. That means they have to be true or false. Then eat the food. And let's read the side note here. In C, Boolean values are represented by numbers. To see the number 0 is a value for false, but what's the value for true? This gets tricky. This is interesting. I could compare this to Python and JavaScript all day. This is insane. C is much more precise, but still. Anything that is not equal to 0 is treated as true. You hear that? That includes -1. So, in fact, I'm going to prove it. Let's go prove it. Bool test. Again, when you're going through the book, if you just want to randomly try something and see if it works, you're probably going to learn it better. So let's do that. So VI bool test import. We just need stdio for. Did I say import? God damn it! This is why I'm doing all these little tests. I want to get good again. Fuck. All right, here we go. So int main, and then we have what do we say? We could say bool is I think bool is a type, right? So we can do bool foo equals -1. Put s foo. I wonder if that's going to compile. Make bool test. Uh-oh, it doesn't like it. All right, let's do printf. I'll say I want it to be, actually, is B for Boolean? I don't know, I'm just experimenting. Is Boolean not a type? I bet we just do this. Boolean is not a type. Wow, I learned something today. There is a header for the Boolean types? Really? Did not know that. Did not know that. So, very nice. Thank you for sharing. Can you use true false if you do that? Does it have a macro? It must have a macro for it, right? We haven't done macros yet. They don't know about it. So, CNN and Boolean types. Thank you. We're doing a little learning expedition here. Boolean standard. Oh, stud bool. It's just a macro, right? It's just a macro. Interesting. This is very interesting. Is that a part of C99, huh? Wow. Still doesn't like it. It doesn't know what B is. Oh, let's make it an I. Because bool is not a type. Go has that, though. Fuck. I'm just not using it in my macro. Alright, I'm failing on purpose. Oh, it's lowercase. Ooh. It compiled. Yay. All right. So it probably uses 0 for false, right? Well, it has to. Would use int and just 1 and 0 for the true or false. Yeah, most programs would. I know. And that's what this program does. That's what I'm having a feeling that's what the book does. But I don't see a need to pull a macro in just for that personally. But what I was trying to say, actually what I want to do, I mean, that's all fun and all. But I also want to do it without that. What? Oh, yeah. If I wanted to see it. Yeah, I should probably do that. Yeah, let's try it. Okay, so I want to just do it int bar equals -1. This is interesting because in many other coding languages, negative values can be interpreted as you can actually use -, 0, and 1 as like a ternary value. You can say, on different things. So it really is interesting. So int bar. Oh, let's put a condition here. So we could say if foo printf, actually put s true. Foo is true, right? And I want to do another one. I want to do bar. This is just a test. If bar, I encourage people to just make their own experimentation. That's the X, RWX, experiment, explore. If bar, put S bar is true. Else, put S bar is false. This is not particularly good style. Don't do what I'm doing. I'm just trying to test some of this stuff out. How's it going, Gloria? Every value is not. Yep, we were just reading that. And that's actually really different than other languages. That's one of the reasons. So if you learn Python, you know that there's a million things that could be true. Same with JavaScript, right? Okay, foo is false. Bar is true. So there are some languages where any value that is 0 or lower is considered false, and any number, and then there's all kinds of different languages out there, but C, anything that's not 0 is false. True. Sorry, anything that's not 0 is true, which is not the same as return codes. That's what screws people up. Because a return code of 0 means, hey, everything was fine. So you could say if your function returns 0, if your function returns false, it worked. And that always screwed me up. It still screws me up. If your function returns false, if your function returns an integer, because 0 means no news is good news. Yes. Oh, that's a great way to put it. 0 is no news is good news. No news. I have no news. Nothing happened here. There was no errors. Return 0 is all things are good. False. There was no bad things that happened. Happy computer accidents. Makes it pretty hard to read through. Yes. Ternary operator. Yes. We haven't got there yet. Yeah. So, that's not particularly intuitive, especially if you've been coding in any of the interpreted languages, because the interpreted languages are weird. I have to add a get ignore for my new bool test. I don't want the binary getting saved. Since string compare returns 0 as two strings are the same, since it returns how different the two strings are. All right, so let's go back. And see Boolean value reference, but I see the number 0 as a value of false. But what's the value for true? Anything that's not 0. So there's nothing wrong in this C code. In people equals 34, if people moshing take off glasses. Okay. In fact, C programs often use this as a shorthand way of checking if something is not 0. Interesting. Okay. Oh, wow. That's great code. So if not string compare equals. Oh, really? If not string compare, blah, blah, blah. Wow. That is not intuitive at all. That is not at all intuitive. No wonder Go changed it. No wonder Go changed it. I mean, that's Rob Pike's own mantra for Go. A modern C. He literally said a modern C. That's the tagline for Go. It got rid of all those annoyances, right? Things, compile times and stuff. It's arguable, though. It is arguable. All right, so we got to go fast to this. We're on page 18. We go through stuff way too slowly, but we're learning it. A single exclamation point flips the value condition. That means not. Yeah, I think most people know this. We just heard that from ancient straits as well. If not, right on the phone. Okay. All right, so you're going to modify the program so that it can be used for card counting. Same program we wrote before. What was that program? I don't remember what we named it. Is it bet or is it suits? All right, there's our suits program. Here's our bet program. Make another program here. Yes. Yep. All right, let's go to. We got this. We got if int. It will need to display a different message if the card is a 10, jack, queen, or king. So we already have all of this code. I think we're going to change it to call it count. Let's do that. I'm going to copy suits .c to count.c. And we're going to modify this. So we got all our suits, right? This is going to go away, by the way. How's it going, GB? And so enter the card name. Oh, they're using Scanf. They're using Scanf without telling us anything. That's not fair. Or all the formatting was terrible, and there was a comment next to int main saying main class. Oh my god. Are you fucking kidding me? That is object-oriented programming permeating our world in the worst possible way. I mean, char card name. We just want one char. That's got three byte char, an array of 3 bytes. So it's 3 bytes. A string. It's a string. String's a tough word to use. A string in this case is a character array of 3 bytes. So a byte is like, 8 bits interpreted as a character. Put S, enter the card name. Put S, enter. Can I use single quotes there? No, right? Can I enter single quotes there? Why? Because single quotes mean something different in C. Semicolon. Scanf. Now, we haven't learned Scanf yet, but what Scanf does is it reads input. And in this case, it safely reads the input, even though it's totally scary. Scanf, if Scanf is done wrong, you can really create major bugs. So that's what the 2 is for. A character versus double. Yes. Yep, that's right, Seabear. As far as I know, that's right. percentage 2s that says I am going to read exactly 2 characters. It talks about it. Nice. And we're going to read those 2 characters into card name. Why is, okay, I have a question. Question for the team here. Why do I have 3 bytes when I'm only reading 2 characters? This is some of the most notorious program problems in C are off by 1 errors. Off by 1 errors. Null terminator. Yep, null terminator. And they called it the sentinel character in the last section. So I've never heard that term, but that's what they call it. So this says, so off by 1 errors are like really bad in C. They're all over the place. I'm telling you about it because if you're a hacker and you want to own somebody's shitty code, look for off by 1 errors like this. Right? So if somebody had written this, you'd be like, and off by 1 error. You would not believe the shit they can do by an off by 1 error. What was the wasn't there like a backdoor in the hardware? There was an off by 1 error that was like really, really crazy, and they fit an entire redirection in the byte. I can't remember. It was recent. It was like within the last 2 months. It was like a really serious flaw in like a lot of hardware because they were off by 1 like this, and they were scanning. See, this is wrong, right? Because there's only room here for 2 things. So scanf is going to try to put a null character there, and it's going to read off the end of the string. And I don't know if that's the same way they did it, but yeah. Char can be longer than 1 byte on some systems, but usually it is a byte. Yeah, we're going to stick with char being 1 byte. Yeah. We're not going to talk about char length. Char length is a byte as far as we're concerned for beginners. And then if we get on other systems, yeah. Is that a reference of the size of X, size of char thing? I think it is, yes. All right, so here we go. Int val equals 0. So we're going to initialize the value and declare it. Oops, I forgot my semicolon. Int val equals 0. So it's an integer. It's a whole number as opposed to a float, which you should already know about. And then we're going to do all the other stuff. Only we're using case here instead of if else. I don't want to use else if. This is the typical use of... No, I don't want to do this. This is lame. This is like really lame. We're going to rewrite this. What's a float? Lol. We're using switch instead of if. So switch is exactly the same as if, and Python doesn't have it. It's one of the reasons Python sucks. I can't believe they forgot to use switch. So if card name equals a K, value equals 10, 10, 10, 11. I'm going to change this up a little bit. We were doing suits before. I don't know. I think I'm fixing the wrong one. I think I'm fixing the wrong program. I'm not doing it the way they said, so there. I'm not. Otherwise, the value equals A to I. What A does is it converts the string, the characters in the string, in card name, into an actual value. It looks for a value in there and converts the type. That's what A to I does. It's the same thing in Go, by the way. It's the same command. It's just got a capital A. Card. What is the code smell? I like switches. Very powerful in different ways. Yes. I like switches. People don't like switches. I love switches. Are switches slower in any way? Thanks to the follow. I don't know. Try it. Ancient Straits. Go break something. Let us know. Should we do it? This is why it takes us so long to do anything, but I actually approve of this message. A2itest.c. I mean, seriously, go break shit to figure out how it works. That's the best way. Stdio.h. Let's try this. Int main. So let's do let's do int. No, let's do char. No, let's do int n equals a to I. Hello world. What the hell is that going to do? Printf. D or I. Let's use I. N. All right, let's compile that. Make A to I tests. Uh-oh. All warnings are being treated as errors. Implicit declaration of function A to I. Where does A to I come from? Is that's not, is that a different? Oh, they're not telling us where it came from. Is it standard lib? You know what? Okay, I have a criticism of this book. This book doesn't tell you where the stuff is coming from. It hasn't mentioned standard lib anywhere. You seeing this? It hasn't mentioned to use standard lib anywhere. We're just guessing. We happen to know it. Man, anytime. Convert a string to an integer. There we go. Standard lib. But they didn't say it in the book at all. They didn't do it as a declaration. I didn't see it. It's not declared anywhere in here. I don't see it declared. Did we miss something before? I mean, okay, I can't tell. So that's a bug. That's an error in the book. If the book doesn't tell you where to load the thing, if you're an absolute beginner reading through this book, you're like screwed right now. Yeah. This is bad. I gotta put this in the book. Chapter 1. I'm gonna put a warning here. All the code, most of the code examples use libraries that are not explained anywhere, such as lib std lib h for A to I, etc. I mean, that's a big fucking deal. To me, that's a big fucking deal. Because that means you couldn't... Yeah, but see, you already know C. A lot of us already know C. I'm trying to think about if you didn't know any C at all. When I learned C, I like that, though. Let's actually put that... Frank, I like that you're saying that. Remember that I'm going to put a big old warning here. RTFM. I was reminded that the definitive source for all function and other for all C documentation is in the man pages. For example, there is no explanation of the A to I before it is first used, but knowing that anything in the book is also covered in more depth in the man pages in the manual will help get over this missing information without having to search the internet. All right, so I want to make sure that that's in my notes if anybody's going through this. To get more information. I want to make these notes because when we write our own book, we can make sure to include that in there. Istanbul is also there. Yes. Yeah, man pages. It's the same thing for Bash and Git. I learned Git from the man pages, and while I was doing it, I learned things that other people watching didn't know, like the switch area verb. Yeah. But it's good to have a team co-learning like this because you're going to have people in there who know more than you, and they can help you. That's the way of learning. That's the one true way to learn. So, I mean, God, you guys have been so helpful. It's been amazing. Foreign garbage books. See, absolutely. I mean, this book is pretty damn good, but there are books that get it completely wrong, and then poor people are just so confused. Yes, Python added switch statements recently. Really? I totally missed that. They gave in. They finally gave in. That is interesting. That is really interesting. Poor Guido. Guido's not running the project anymore. As soon as he got out of it, he's like, watch him add anonymous functions, like true, not lambdas, anonymous functions with multi-line anonymous functions. It's getting American education system. Yeah. Walrus operator was the strong. They put walrus operator in Python. Oh my God. Guido's like, no, I'm out. Thank you for the follow there. Soggy bottom coder. We're going to take a break. We're going to take a coding break because I have now been reminded of a song that I must play immediately that no one will be able to hear on YouTube, but I have to play it. Because Soggy Bottom Coder just joined, and I have to play it. All right, here we go. We're taking a break. We're taking a break. Don't freak out. Songs and salvation to salve the soul. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble with this. It's soggy. Old salmon material. Accompanies a man of constant sorrow, trouble all my days. That's drop D, by the way. That's drop D tuning on that guitar. It's hard as fuck to play. Was born and raised the place where he was born and raised. Oh, the rainbow. Yeah. When he sold his soul to the devil. It's actually a recreation of Homer's Odyssey. You know that, right? It's a recreation of Homer's Odyssey. They have the sirens and everything. I'll face it. Here made you all go golden shore. Woo! Mighty fine. I'll pay you $5. Only 4 of us can write. Lol. That's horrible. He's a horrible person. Back to C coding. Back to C coding. Yeah, it's a good song. We took a break. It's because our new friend Soggy Coder joined, and I had to play the Soggy on behalf of Soggy. I had to play Soggy Bottom Boys. I had to do it. We'll now return to our previously scheduled meditative music. All right, so what's up? Wait, are we done? We're going till 10 tonight. 9:30 we're going. We're going to 9:30. 9:30. We're going to code till 9:30. I don't even remember what we were doing. Help. So we were actually experimenting with Boolean tests. Blackjack, yes, blackjack. Here we go. So yeah, we were playing around with the Scanf function. Oh, I was doing an experiment. I was in the middle of doing an experiment with. I believe we were doing A to I tests. Yes, I want to finish the. Somebody asked what happens if you try to read an integer from a string, and we got an error trying to compile that. So here are the errors, and we got our C flags all set up over here. That's an environment variable we have to set. This stuff here to stop it from doing bad things. If it can catch it, a lot of times it doesn't. Implicit declaration of function A to I. W error equals implicit function declaration. Oh, that's because, because it didn't tell us to include the function, and I went off on kind of a rant about it not doing that, because I had to add stud lib, and I would not have known that unless I had done this. Man A to I, as Frank said, our 10x programmer, and he said here, yeah, just go read it. It says A to I, and it tells you all about it. It says you got to make sure you include stud lib, otherwise you can't use it, and you get that error. But that's not in the book. It's not in the book. So, knowing about man pages up front is a nice thing. It's another reason to code C on Linux or Unix. People try to code C on Windows and Mac. Oh my God. Okay. Fine. Have fun with that. So that seems to have worked. That, contrary to what I thought it might do, did not throw an error. It's like, I don't see any integers in here. I know, let's get crazy. We get creative with this? Yeah. What if we put an integer in there? Huh? What about that? Let's do this. Let's say, wait, what? This is an integer. A to I, hello world, hello one world. What do you think that's going to do? There's web pages versus man pages. Bite your tongue, Og. How dare you? The man page gods have just segfaulted. They're going to hunt you down. Did you just recommend man pages over the web page? Did you really just do that? May I remind you that man pages existed almost a decade before the internet. That's what they're going to say. That's what they're going to say. Apparently, I can't do it, not even if it's inside of there. What if we do this? All right, we're going to do another one. What if we just do this here, this how? This how we just make it a 1 just like this. Make it a 1, put it that way. How about that? Converts to a string. It does. So it can test. Oh, we got a 1 finally. So that works. How about we use another number so we're not afraid of Boolean or some shit? Like 42, the magical number. Let's try that. A to I test. 42. There it is. There she blows. What if we do 42 and some white space? Also 42. What if we do 42 and like some random character? Also 42. So, not only does it not care about white space, it doesn't care about trailing letters. This is very fascinating to me. This is very fascinating. This means, what if we do this? Huh? What about that one? First white space is nullifier? Does it say it in the... Apparently not. No. That would be false. We just proved it. We just proved it. You can have white space at the beginning as long as the first number is a number. I have a feeling... This is the funnest way to learn, by the way. And yes, funnest is a word. I don't want to hear it. We just proved that you can have white space in the beginning of your string and it'll still grab the number. Now, if we do this, I have a feeling that's going to fail. I have a strong feeling that's going to fail. It does indeed fail. It does. It makes it false. So let's put the good ones up here first. Just cause. Actually, let's do all of them. Put them all there. Oh, you can't see my ASCII, so sorry. In case you're wondering how I did that. All right, so yeah, white space is undefined. Can't rely on it to work on all platforms. You can't? So how about that? I mean, we're learning all about A to I now. A to I. Feature test macro. The A to I function converts the initial portion of a string pointed to by pointer to an int. The behavior. You know what? I think because it's blank, I think it interprets it as I'm a very funnerist man. Works on my machine. Then it would accept yes. Comparative form of fun. Therefore, you don't say funnest. You say more funniest. Okay, so we have. There we go. The behavior is the same as string to L, except A to I does not detect errors. The A to L, A to I functions have the same as okay. Those are long ints. Long ints are longer. I think they're double byte. Longs are double byte, right? Yeah. And shorts also. Error number is set by the number blah. Start safety. You should use string L over A to I because A to I you can determine between valid output versus error. This is true. This is true. This is true. That's the best practice not to use A to I. Let's use string to L to long. A to I, you need to get a number. A to I is to get a number out of an input string. Almost always. That's what people use it for. So yeah. A string can specify the base? Really? Oh my god. Why would I use anything else? Oh my God, I'm making a big old thing about this. I'm making a big old deal about this. I'm making a big deal about this. Chapter 1. First thing to so points use of string to L lets you tell the error and set the base. A to I does not. Yep. I'm going to put a bunch of notes in here for myself. I think it's there for backward compatibility. Yeah. And is considered deprecated by some veterans. By some veterans. Is that pretty fair to say? I have not. I know what string. I know what str to L does, but let's do it. So str to L, convert a string to a long integer. That's another thing too. Is it gives you, a veteran. Thank you for being a veteran. Thank you for your service. So include stdlib. You have to provide the base feature test member. The string to L, str to L function converts the initial part of the string to nptr in nptr, which is a fancy way of saying a character pointer, to a long integer value according to the given base, which must be between 2 and 36 inclusively. That means it can be either 2 or 36. Or be the special value 0. The string may begin with an arbitrary amount of white space as determined by is space. Okay, well, we just, A to I does that too. Followed by a single option, plus or minus. Okay. If base is 0, 16, the string may then include a 0x or 0 capital X prefix, and the number will be read as base 16. This is why I use that in my pagan notation as well, because that's pretty standard. I actually use X instead of just 0x, I think, at one point. Taken to be as a base 10 unless the next character is 0, in which case it is octal. Yep. It's 36 since all 10 digits plus 26 others. Yes. Yep. The remainder of the string is converted to a long value, which is a bigger int than a short one, in the obvious manner stopping at the first character, which is not a valid digit in the given base. In bases above 10, the letter A is either uppercase or lowercase, representing 10. B represents 11, etc. And so forth to Z. Yeah. So base 36 is the most they can get because it goes all the way to Z. I see. If nptr, I think it's safe to set nptr to null. If nptr is not null, stores the address in the first invalid character in nptr. If there were no digits at all, a string strtl stores the original value of nptr in endptr and returns 0. In particular, if nptr is not null, then the pointer to nptr is null on return, and the entire string is valid. So we get a nice error message then. Yeah. That's very cool. Very, very cool. I mean, that was a great test. Use yeah. Someone spent a week making string to L and a couple minutes making A to I. And it made it into our permanent storage. Nice. Get ignore. I should just build them all at the top level or in bin. I should build everything in bin. But looks confusing. We're writing C code, which we assume you know how to code already. So we're just doing some game development in C. Simple games, a blackjack game, and then a Blastoids game later on. I do play video games. I do. I'm gonna play some Dota tonight, actually. I'm supposed to be cleaning, but I don't want to. My video game is called T-Mux. Yeah, have a look at my About section. Yep, there you go. Have a look at the About section. It'll tell you. Go read. Find the section that says, what the fuck is this? You want in on my Dota game? Yeah, we should play together. Did you download it? Wait, we have to go until 9:30. We got time, guys. I do feel like this has been productive, though. I know we're going through the chapters really slowly, but the stuff we're learning is like really amazing. So I do not care how fast we go through it. We have a switch statement. We're using a switch instead of this. So K, Q, J, and A. So K, Q, J, and A. And for the values of those, you know what I wish you could do? You can't do it in C. In Go, you can do this. Can you do that in C? Can you do multiple stuff on the case statement? I'm going to go find out. Man dash. It's 5, right? Isn't it? Is it 5? Or because it's a fall through. Because it's a fall through. I see. Okay. It's a fall through, right? I forgot fall through is the default. Yeah. Taniwa. Taniwa with the jokes. Val equals 10. Yeah, that's fine. That's the equivalent of putting commas between. Another like tiny tweak that Rob Pike did, who helped build C. Ken Thompson and Rob Pike helped build C. So they put a lot of the things they wish C had into Go. Which just makes me like Go so much more after this. Yeah. Switch card name 0. And if it doesn't equal that, then the val is A to I card. Oh, wait, if it's A, it's 11. It's 11. Yep. And then what? And then we have A to I card name. There is a good extension to do that? Ugh. I don't know if I would do that. I don't know. And we're not using A to I. We're going to replace A to I. I don't know how, but we're going to. It says to use A to I, but we're going to replace ours and make ours better. Fix me. Replace with. I'm going to get it to compile first. 2L. All right. So, you got to do F statement. Check if the value is 3 to 6. Count has gone up. All right. So if this is why we're doing this, this is what we're supposed to be filling in right here. So if the value has gone up, is greater than 3 or less than 6. If val is greater than 3 or val is less than 6. Now, I actually like to write this a different way. I'm going to show you a trick. Does anybody ever use Python? Actually lets you write this. This is one of the coolest things about Python people might not know. But you can, in Python, you can write these conditions exactly as you would write a range in math. So the closest thing to do, if you wanted to look like what you're used to seeing in math class, is you can put this, right? and you can flip the values. But you see how that the vowels go together? And that goes with Go too. I love that convention. I love it because that look, and actually if you do this with Python, Python supports this. A lot of people don't know this. Python supports if 3 is less than val is less than 6. That means if 3 is between less than 6. I can kind of do the math thing, yeah. So, see this here? That is supported in Python. And this is the closest you can get to it in C and Go. And it does flip this. So, usually the algorithm will describe it differently. It'll say if the value is greater than 3 and the value is less than 6. But writing it like this, I like writing it this way so much better. Because then you can see that the value is between the two numbers. And it's visually, it's kind of a visual trigger as to how to. Let me show you the Python here. So this is when I found this in Python, I gotta admit I was kind of impressed. So in Python you can say I don't know, foo equals 5, and then you could say if foo, let's see, if 2 greater than foo, no, if foo is greater than 2 and less than 10, actually let's just print that because it's a valid condition. See, true, right? Isn't that cool? The big deal soccer team. Isn't that cool? That's actually one of the coolest things about Python. I mean, Python's got a lot of quirks and stuff, but I thought that was fucking amazing. The first time I saw that, I was like, I have always wanted to write that. because now you can do all your ranges. Let's say you want a non-inclusive, left non-inclusive, right? So let's say you want to do this, right? You want to do, by the way, that is non-inclusive. So that is a range 2, 10. That's how you indicate a range using a comment. Using a comment, that's how you write it, right? That's how you write a comment. Int XYZ, and they'll all be 5. Yeah. So, but you can also do this. You can do, so if you wanted to do, so if you don't know, what is it, set syntax or run syntax, 2, 10. So that means 2 to 10 inclusive on the left. So that means including 2. So the way you would do that is you would do this. You would do 2 or equal to foo less than 10. And you can actually, honestly, you could actually make a tiny little Vim filter to write that for you. So let me show you how to do that. I actually want to do this. I want to do this. We're going to do this. I'm going to make a filter. So CMD command. CMD command crun. I don't know. C-span. I don't know. What would you call it? What is that called? A set? It's not a set. It's I don't know what they call it. Foo set interval notation. Okay. Inote. Inotation. Inota. X command is my oops. I don't remember where my thing is. God damn, my own stuff is like bad now. Oh shit. Oh damn, I think I must have gotten rid of it. I forgot my own shortcuts. Oh, there it is. Sorry. I made a thing called new X. So new X inota. no X inota. So we can do this. We could say, so we can make it in a filter. I know you don't want bash, right? So we could say, oh no, let's just do one line at a time. So let's assume the line is, well, you know what? I don't want to do this right now. This isn't C coding. What I want to do, I'm getting distracted, but I want to make it. You can make a filter, like a one line bash filter that takes interval notation and converts it into your thing, and I just have to write it in shorthand and then bang it and convert it. But it doesn't take that long to write it, so I'm just gonna write it. So anyway, that's the thing. So less than 6. Let's finish this thing because I want to go do something else. Besides, we're running out of time. Count. Let's see if it's a put s count has gone up. That was weird. Put s count has gone up. Else else if, well, we'll do that later. Then I got a double indent in there. Sorry. Is what? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Else what? Else if. What? By the way, check if the card was a 10, Jack, Queen, King. 10, Jack, Q, or K. Makes me want to use a regular expression. God damn, that's going to be Harry. Val. Value is 3 to 6. Wait, if the card was a 10, Jack, Queen, or King. King, Queen, Jack, or Ace. Oh, the value equals 10. That's kind of stupid. L equals 10. We don't need to check the types. Oh, you're talking about... No. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about ligatures and stuff. 10. So these are not ace. Ace is 11. So you can just say if the value was 10, put S card has gone down. This doesn't make any sense to me. I don't follow the logic, but we're going to do what they say for now. Return 0. This is supposed to be blackjack, yeah. So let's make sure this compiles. Make count. External put S. I forgot to declare it. Wait. No, declared here. Did it? Oh. Whoopsie. This doesn't make sense to me. Why is it going down for that? I think we should use brackets too, but yeah. Before switch. Oh. Missing semicolon again. Oh god. Count. Enter the card name. Jack. From what? Has gone down from what? Well, the code's working. Yeah, you can do one line, but that's bad in Python. I don't like encouraging people to do one line without curly brackets because you can do it, but it's bad because inevitably you're going to add another line, and if you do it in JavaScript, it has semicolon insertion, and it's a bad habit to get into, in my opinion. Numbers with an interval contains. That's horrible. That's absolutely stupid, Frank. You're not stupid, but that's fucking idiotic. I would rather it be like, oh, I don't know, anytime anybody's ever written an interval since the dawn of time. It's fucking. Thank you for sharing another reason that I think Rust sucks. Python's better than Rust in that particular case. So see. I mean, make your own decisions here. I'm not. You do what you want, but what is clearer? What is clearer? Contains. Which one would you rather read? Oh my god, it's so bad. I fucking hate Rust. I hate it. It does so much unnecessary shit. It's like it wants to be JavaScript. This is 100% inspired by JavaScript right here. This right here. Because JavaScript people love that shit. No, just no. Just say no, people. This is better. And you know what's even better? The Python version. That's better. That's what you're going to see. It's clearer. It's easier to read. It's not fucking esoteric. Clean code is best code. Unsexy code is the best code because then you can read it. Is that you can pass an interval as one parameter. Oh, up here? Passing an interval as one parameter is nice. I'll admit. That's nice. That's an advantage if you're going to pass intervals. That's actually really cool. You can also do it with a struct. And, you know, stuff. So, anyway. Adding that into the language. Yes. Yeah, I like the idea of being able to pass an interval, though. But you'd have to make that in C. All right. You do print, and it will print forever. Really? That's crazy, really. Well, Haskell has actual interval notation, I think, if I remember right. I could be wrong. Anyway, we're done with the C stuff. It is 9:30. You know, we did a lot of the thing here from the chapter. As usual, we went off on a lot of like little side quests while we were doing the main quest. So that's not a problem. I think that gets you more experience. See what I did there? All right, so we're going to come back and make sense of this exercise and see why they did it that way. The polite guide to standards. The NCC standard has no value for true and false. C programs treat value 0 as false and any other value as true. The C99 standard does, however, allow you to use the words true and false in your programs, but the compiler treats them as the values 1 and 0. Okay. Here's the solution to the exercise we just did, according to them. Now, if you put this code into a file, it won't compile because it doesn't have the include headers at the top because they kept them out for some stupid reason. They didn't put them. That's my biggest complaint with the book so far, is it doesn't tell you the stuff you should include it up here. You were to modify the program to be used. Modify what program? It doesn't say what program. And so anyway, we got this. If value equals 2 and value equals less than 7. I think our version is better. What do you think? What do you think, people? What do you vote for? Do you vote for the version that kind of shows you that the value is between 3 and 6? Or do you want to do this shit? I don't like that. I don't like this version right here. And because it's hard, if val is less than 2, it's greater than 2, and val is, when I look at that, I know what's up. When I look at this, I know exactly what's up. If the val is between 3 and 6, boom, immediately my eyes know exactly what it's doing. This is my favorite way to write it. And I learned a trick from some other coders. I was reading through their code. So otherwise, to check if the card was 10, blah, blah, blah. If the value is 10, okay, we got that. Let's do our dumb questions, and we'll move on to the next one. Oh, why not just single? Because those are bitwise operators, and we're not going to talk about that. Single ampersand and single, single and sign and single pipe bar are already operators. They are bitwise operators. They do stuff to bit fields, but we're not going to talk about it. Proposal to support. You should. You should, Taniwa. Please do. So why did the and the or and the bar operators exist? Because they're more than simple evaluate. They perform bitwise. We talked about that. What do you mean bitwise? We're not going to talk about it. I already talked about that. Test drive. Let's see what happens if we compile and run the program. Cards. This line compiles. We run it and we get a thing. Yes, we did it. The code works. The computer says that the card was low. The count went up. Raise that bet. Raise that bet. Stealthy communication device. Lol. The compiler exposed. All right, we'll start with the compiler exposed. This is actually a really good conversation, so we'll start with that tomorrow. We'll be back on at 8 o'clock for more C game development. The game right now is Blackjack. Have you tried Cling by any chance? I don't know what that is. Do not know what that is. He's stealthy, but he glows in the dark. It'll be rejected. The abomination known as Cling. It came from CERN. Interactive C++ interpreter. Make it stop. Make it stop. I don't want to see it. I can't unsee it after that. No. No. Why would you do such a thing? That reminds me of the Full Metal Alchemist when they morph the girl and the dog together. I'm like, no, don't do that. Not mainstream anime references for the win. Do you know what I'm talking? Do you guys know Full Metal Alchemist? Full Metal Alchemist. It's a good series. I haven't watched the whole thing, but there's some fucking disturbing stuff in that movie and that anime. All right. Your new C extension should be called. Oh, it's so sad. It's so sad. On that note, join us tomorrow. Oh, we got a follow out of that. Welcome, Greenblade. We got a follow out of it. Happy thoughts, and then Dota. It's his fault. Killtop is the one who showed us the C++ interpreter. What the fuck? Oh my god. All right, it's time for me to go. But I'm not really going to go. Psych. I'm just going to stop the video for a second. And then I'm going to come back and do something else. I don't know what that thing is. I'll be right back.